My name is Sheena with Rise Wellness, and this is our weekly prayer for the Way of Namaste. Let's take a breath together and just arrive here in this moment with gratitude. Thank you for making the time to be here now, to sink so deeply into the present moment that space and time completely collapse and you are in the void, the spaceless space, the boundless place, Shambhala, Brahman, Nirvana. So many ways to describe stillness. So many practices reflected through the Buddha to arrive in a place of stillness. And there is such impeccability in the place of stillness, because in this place we are not tethered by external stimuli. We are not influenced by the energies around us. We are contained within the void, the paradox, the truth of being all and nothing. As within, so without. As above, so below. This spaciousness is always available to us through our breath. So let's take a breath now, a deep inhale, relaxing all the muscles in your body, pulling in air all the way from the base of your form. Feeling your ribcage expand like the gates of a temple, allowing in air, freshness, like opening the windows on a spring day, filling this place, this vessel with fresh oxygen. One more moment holding in. And then releasing slowly, deeply, letting everything go. I invite you to try doing that a couple more times in your own breath, in your own rhythm that feels true for you. Gene Key 52 this week is about the shadow of stress, the gift of restraint, and the divine expression of stillness. This shadow of stress actually cannot exist when we are taking deep breaths. Breath is the key to this gene, which is why it's so related to the path of yoga and Buddha. Because it's about being with our breath, in control of our breath, gifting ourselves the sovereignty of a full and deep, expansive inhale. And a slow and deep and restorative exhale, softening, softening, softening. That's what the entire awakening journey is. Richard Rudd has famously coined the phrase, a series of softenings. And this is because we're becoming more and more aware of our breath. We hear a lot of buzz in the spiritual community around the Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is our choice point. when we are at a crossroads, when there is something trying to get our attention, external stimuli, something inside projected outside of us, we have a choice to make, left or right, yes or no, up or down. In this polarity matrix, we often think that that choice has an either or tendril to it. But the Buddha reminds us through our breath, let's do that again, that each time we arrive at the choice point, at the crossroads, this Christ consciousness, this Christos, this is actually the point where we get to step outside of the polarity and recognize it doesn't have to be either or. It always gets to be yes and, both and. This is the power of coming out of this linear time-space continuum and being in the adventure of the boundlessness of your spirit that recognizes that time does not move linearly. It goes within, without, like a cylinder, like a sphere, collapsing, folding in on itself, other times expanding and growing like the dahlia flower. Each time it blooms, you see the moment of contraction, and then it breathes bigger, flaps its wings more. In a bird, all of our animals do this. They test the limit of their environment, and then they go beyond it. Once they've registered that safety lies within their body. You see, this gene key of stress is so dictated by the outer world. We have a collective aura around us, and people that live in big cities are feeling even more intensely into that collective aura and wearing it as though it's their own, because there's so many energies and vibrations around us. With 8 billion people on our planet, it is impossible not to feel into this collective aura, this vibration of recognition that we are all part of the same one. This is why we are not free until all of us are free. The archetype of the Bodhisattva is the Buddha that chooses to stay and lead, heart-centered, to restore people back to the light, to return them back home to their origin point. Because without their angelic presence, they may not find the light and keep circling back around and back around and back around. Right now, humanity is going through a shift, and our earth is shifting its vibration in orbit. We are no longer afforded the ability to stand by with inertia and wait for the world to awaken. We must help and aid in this ascension process so that we all may return to a higher vibrational reality that we know is true. Because as we awaken, we remember it. As we remember it, we will it to be, because we are perceiving in a new collective aura of this Shambhala, of this nirvana, of this vibrational reality which is heaven on earth. This heaven on earth feels like freedom. In our body, it's the moment that we express our sovereignty. And we will give ourselves so many opportunities to experience sovereignty, to embody freedom. And some of us have played out stressful, traumatic patterns that think in order to evolve, we must have chaos. This is part of a history propaganda that's been spewed over to us for 5,000 years with a power over dynamic. Let's breathe again. As we shift into these higher vibrational realities, we are allowing our vessel to contain more light. And sometimes this means releasing the shadows. Change is not easy. If we have fallen into a flow, it's become comfortable. To change that flow is going to require a new chemical reaction in our body, which is going to flag us to feel discomfort. That discomfort may keep us stuck in a repressed state, or it may keep us distracted, not fully going into a place of stillness and just being tethered to distractions around us that keep us in these karmic loops. When we breathe deeply, we allow the oxygen in our blood to move, to become inspired. It's no longer circulating an old story, repeating an old pattern, but now it's creating something new. It's a fresh breath. It's a new idea. Innovation comes from actually separating from the collective aura to tap into our own inner reservoir. What is our body informing us of now? The gift of restraint asks us to take the moment of pause. Restrain from going into the normal, typical routine that you've been doing over and over and over again. Restrain from what's comfortable. Restrain from what feels safe. Even the word to us a lot of times carries a charge, and that's why these are seed words, because we're imprinting them to recognize restraint as a gift. A shadow of stress was one time glamorized. There was a time growing up that my parents valued how many hours they spent at work. They thought there was a pressurized society that valued and had merit to being the overachiever, to being the perfectionist. Look how much I've done to prove my worth in my family. I've encountered so much stress for my trophy, for my gold star. Let's release that story. Let's take a breath. Her story shows us that the relaxed embodiment of humanity is the new imprint that we get to step into. We didn't often glamorize an exhausted woman or man or child, but we sure put them on pedestals. We sure made it seem like we were supposed to do that. We were supposed to tire out. We were supposed to keep up with a 24-hour cycle, even though we are evolving around a 28-cycle moon. Especially as women, when we actually take control of our blood magic, our lunar cycle, our rhythm changes. Our rhythm changes because our breath changes. We pause more. We notice more of what's around us. We don't have to keep up with the Joneses anymore. Those days are coming to an end, sometimes to a screeching halt for some of our nervous systems, as it's still playing around in the new vibration of heaven on earth and looking for external validation sometimes. Is this okay? Is rest okay? I'm here to tell you that it is the only way. It is more than okay. It is necessary. Until we learn how to regulate our nervous systems, we will not be able to create something new. We will keep regurgitating something that's already been told. And our planet needs a new story right now. It needs a new calibration, a new vibrational essence imprinted from rest, imprinted through stillness. Through stillness, that inspired action, that expression of the divine comes through, because we're not so full of space, of stuff, of things we don't need, and we actually allow ourselves to be the hollow bone from which place every bit of information informs us to the next inspired action. So may we gift ourselves the permission to slow down into complete stillness this week. I know I've been unplugging from social media, and in the first 24 hours I saw what a challenge that was going to be. So instead of doing it for 24 hours, now I'm going to go 30 days. I've deleted Facebook, I've deleted Instagram. And I've journaled more, and I've breathed more, and I've meditated more. When we can stop consuming, we can start expressing. And the opposite of depression is expression. Our body can't take all of this data, many of it invisible data coming into us. And it needs moments of pause where we can slow down, we can unplug, and we can reset. And maybe we do that with a 3-minute timer today, and we are just restored by our breath. Or maybe we come into a 30-minute meditation, and we are fully restored by our breath. Or maybe we go to bed early tonight, and we take more time to just rest and sleep and be. Whenever this message comes your way, trust in it. Trust in the slowdown. Trust that the slowdown, according to the divine expression in the gene keys, is the most fertile soil for new life to grow. So if you have been grieving this week, loss, something coming up from your past, give it the burial that it deserves. Put it fully to rest. Cry, journal, release, and then put on your calendar the date that you start playing. Put on your calendar the time that you start playing, and schedule it for yourself as the most important part of your recovery. The opposite of depression is expression. When we are grieving, we need to play. We need to make something beautiful from that which we have experienced, because this is the full transmutation, the full process of the life cycle from beginning to end is to honor the death, to let it go so that we can integrate and express something new from that place. So let's take another breath together deeply. What are you willing to let go of right now? What are you willing to say goodbye to? What part of the past is no longer serving you in this moment and is ready for expansion, is ready for a new story, is ready for a fresh start? Let's hold it for one more beat. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Release, release, release all the way, fully, fully, fully. We're ready. We've got a new moon coming in next week in the sign of Cancer. And on this new moon, we're going to set intentions for what we're going to bring in. But right until then, we're just going to be. We're not going to worry about what those intentions are. We're not even going to think about it. We're just going to allow ourselves to be so soaked up by this Cancer sun that we are feeling our feelings instead of thinking them, because we're breathing. And between those breaths, We are collapsing space and time, and we are imprinting our body with a new frequency. And instead of being absorbed by the collective aura around us, we are emanating our own essence into the collective tapestry, one of unconditional love, one of freedom, one of stillness, one of peace. Sending you so much love and gratitude this week. Namaste.